Well, hello and a very warm welcome to this turbocharged business interview. It's my pleasure to have back again for an interview with Toby Jenkins, from bluewiremedia.com.au. Toby, very good morning, sir. Welcome back.
Thanks very much, Tom. Great to be here.
Well, I've dragged Toby, not reluctantly, I might add, but I've invited Toby back again because I've just finished going through a copy of his book, Web Marketing That Works, which I actually pre-ordered, Toby, and then to my great surprise, you'd very kindly sent me an autographed copy, which I will treasure. Folks,
Thanks, Tom.
the interview was not set up specifically to talk about the book directly, but I can't help but give it a plug because it is just so solid. And there's so much BS and hype out there around web-based marketing. So do yourself a favor and get the book. Now, having said that, the audio's crashed. We're back again. Great. All right. So for those of you who don't know Toby, didn't catch the last interview, he is the co-founder and CEO of bluewiremedia.com.au. I've got that right, haven't I, Toby?
Yeah, spot on.
All right. And what a lot of people won't know is that you went to the 2004 Athens Olympics.
Yeah, that's right. Played water polo.
A water polo.
So
you don't look that vicious, Toby.
Yeah.
I've heard
it was a little while ago now, Tom.
I've heard all sorts of things that go on underneath the surface of that water. So the subject of the interview today is how to kick your advertising addiction. I'm intrigued. Toby, our time starts now. We've got 5 minutes. Let's rock and roll. How about we kick off and just let me ask you, what is an advertising addict or what is advertising addiction?
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, one of the reasons we wrote the book was a question from a client, actually. So we had this meeting with a prospect at the time, and they said, look, one of the things that we have come to realize is that we are, every month, we're digging into our pocket and we're spending on advertising, whether it's in newspapers or Google AdWords or what have you. And every month, that's how we're driving leads. And what they had come to realize as well was that not only did they have to pay to get the leads each month, but incrementally, over time, they were having to pay more and more to get that same result. And so they were getting really frustrated, and they said, you know, can you help us kick the habit? And that was an aha moment from our point of view, was that, okay, I could really see that addiction sort of comparison, I guess, for the first time.
Well, that's very much like a real addiction, isn't it? Where someone on a drug has to get more and more and more of the drug to get the same effect. And eventually, of course, there's an overdose, or in business, I guess, there's a budget is blown completely. And look, I've seen that a lot as well. That's a very reactive mode to, it's treadmill marketing. We're sort of desperate. We're on the treadmill, and every month we've got to run a bit harder, run a bit faster just to stay in the same place. So it begs the question, I guess, if we're talking about addicts and addictions, how do you kick the habit? How do you kick the advertising addiction habit?
Yeah,
because kicking addictions isn't easy.
No, well, it's not a program per se, but
12 steps.
It is from 12 steps exactly. Advertising Addictions Anonymous. But no, I guess the core understanding that needs to take place is that advertising, the traditional sense of it, depreciates so quickly. So if you buy a newspaper advert, the next day, yes, people see it, and then the day after that, it's gone. It's in the bin. It's fish and chip wrapper. The contrast, I guess, is on the web and producing content and useful and interesting content is that you have the opportunity to actually have that piece of effort, the time that's gone into, say, a blog post, then appreciate over time. So to give you an example of that, Adam wrote a blog post a while ago, probably a year ago now.
Adam's your co-founder.
Adam is the co-founder, yeah.
Yep.
And so he wrote this blog post about email subject lines that get open rates. And so that was quite popular. We sent it out to our database, and it drove quite a bit of traffic, and that was interesting. The piece that is really interesting, though, from building a marketing asset kind of point of view, is that the next step was it was picked up by Buffer blog, which is a very popular blog.
Yep.
They linked back to our article.
Yep.
And referred an enormous amount of traffic through it. And then ultimately we were able to generate a lead and a proposal for thousands of dollars because of this guy finding us initially on Buffer app, then coming to our site, and then coming through our sales process.
Yeah.
And that was all on the back of a blog that had taken place 6 months.
Okay, we've got 80 seconds left, but sorry, go ahead.
So no, just that, that piece of effort had actually appreciated over time as opposed to depreciating.
I wanted to draw that out, and okay, it's 80 seconds left. I want to draw that out because you said something very interesting. Advertising depreciates in value. It's yesterday's news, it's yesterday's radio ad, it's gone. Whereas content can appreciate in value. It can sit there almost dormant for months or sometimes years, and up pops a seed, which you can harvest, so to speak. I think I'm carrying this metaphor a little too far, but the point is this, that and in your book you talk about creating assets, and that content is an asset. But it's by the way, folks, if you want to copy the book, because I have rabbited on about it, I'm a big fan. Bluewiremedia.com.au. It's bluewiremedia.com.au/book. A very worthwhile read. Now you got to be prepared to commit and persist with this stuff, don't you, Toby? You can't just expect to stick out one blog and be an overnight success. 15 seconds.
Absolutely.
Any final tips, please?
Look, I mean, I guess view it as an investment, and use that opportunity of having something that will appreciate over time, and stick with it, because it does take effort.
And be consistent.